Right now, it is our pleasure to bring in a guy who's going to have a very stressful couple of weeks coming up as he watches a few of his athletes compete in Paris. It is Bullis High School track coach Joe Lee with us here on the Hoffman Show. Joe, how we doing?
Okay, I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to watch Quincy run in the 4, watch Masai run in the hurdles. We'll start off with Quincy, and for those that don't know, we're talking about Quincy Wilson. To first, 16 years old. So this is still one of your athletes, Masai, one of your alums. And I just got to start. Like the first time you saw Quincy Wilson run, what's going through your head? Take me back to that first time you meet him, the first time you see him on the track.
Well, the first time I saw him run, it was actually at an age group track meet, and I noticed he was doing really well. He was in the 8th grade, and he was blown away the competition. But it was age group competition. It wasn't high school. It definitely wasn't college or the pro. So I was very impressed with his heart, his determination. I saw he had a lot of technical flaws, just learning how to sprint properly, which, a lot of kids do at that age, and not just with track, but for any sport. You just, the older you get, the more you apply and the better you become. But I was just impressed. I also noticed his stature. He wasn't that big. He wasn't a big guy. The same meet, I wound up sitting in stands and happened to talk to his mom. His mom actually came up to me and said, "Are you Coach Lee?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Who are you?" And she said, "I'm Quincy Wilson's mom." I said, "Oh, hey, I just saw him run." She said, "Yeah, I'm glad you did because we want to come to Bullis next year and start our high school career or have our high school career be with you guys." Wow. And I'm like, okay, what kind of joke is this? Because clearly at that time they lived down in the Virginia Beach area. And I'm like, that's, I've heard of commutes, but anybody doing a 4-hour commute one way. So she's like, no, we're going to move our entire family up to Maryland to come to Bullis if you would have us. And I was like, heck yeah, you want to leave now? But wow. Obviously I had to finish 8th grade. So fast forward, he came to Bullis and he did well. He played football, actually, believe it or not, freshman year, and he's a small guy as a freshman. He's like 5'6", maybe 130 at best. And so they decided, his family decided that let's maybe not pursue the football career. Although he was very good, he's ultra competitive, just didn't have the size, and also he was susceptible to being injured. So they decided to turn to track and full-time track, and it turned out he went from there to being on the Olympic team.
Just like that. And that's so funny, Joe, because, what was that, 2 years ago? He's in 8th grade? Something like that? It's like, oh, yeah, back when he was in 8th grade. It's like, 2 years ago. I'm so curious and I'm so excited we have you on because, I've worked in the strength and conditioning world and still do. And one of the things that I always consider with my athletes is exactly what you talk about, those technical flaws. And I'm so curious because I've worked with some good ones. I have never worked with an Olympian, and especially an Olympic track athlete. But you have this fear as a coach of, I don't want to mess it up. And especially when you have, maybe some technical flaws, but they're so special and you're like, I don't want to fix something that might be making them special. So when you work with your athletes in general, and especially someone like Quincy, how do you approach what you want to fix, the order you want to fix in, and all those kind of really coaching nuance type of things that can help guide the athlete to be the best version of themselves over time? And how has that timeline maybe changed at all when, they go to the Olympics at 16 years old?
Yeah, no, that's a great question and a great point. So, I believe personally, one of my philosophies in coaching is that coaching is a science and also an art, So The science portion of it is, where do we need to be biomechanically, whether it's running with proper mechanics or if it's shooting a basketball or kicking a soccer ball, whatever the case may be. There are certain mechanics that are innate that are going to produce success if you just, follow the biomechanics and the metrics around that. With that being said, there's an art to it as well. So, coaches who are just stuck to the numbers only, they miss the opportunity to allow kids to find their special, unique talent and gift. I believe everybody has a different style of doing things. You just got to make sure you find that style after you get the basics covered. With Quincy, if you watch his form, it does not look like your prototypical sprinter, but I would say, again, it's just my opinion, when we try to make everybody look like everybody else, you lose your greatness somewhere in between. So what we did with Quincy, we said, okay, look, we just want to teach you how to run what we call in the sprint world front side, right? So meaning we want your it's a layman term, but we want you to bring your knees up in front of you as opposed to kicking back behind you, right? So front side mechanics is knees up, everything going forward, up and down. So when we taught him that, things like his arm movement and even how it's so funny, he still runs like a kid a lot of ways because his arm will kind of swing out to the side and he tilts his head back like an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old will do. But that's his thing. Like when he's going after people, and even last week at the Olympic trials, he's coming after grown men, and he's tilting his head back like he's a young kid. But that's part of his superpower. So we're not trying to change everything, but just change a few things that'll help him just strengthen where he is. But the special things that make him Quincy, we want to keep the same.
I love that answer so much. I'm totally with you, the art and science thing. And to take it back to sports for the audience for a second, like Klay Thompson and Steph Curry shoot differently. It works for both of them. You never change Steph Curry's shot. You never change Klay Thompson's shot, even though they're both the same. But, there may be at some point in their careers, someone brought their elbow in. And that's exactly what Joe is talking about with the front side mechanics, the backside mechanics. And so I also love the story, and I definitely noticed that. And I think Otto Bolden actually mentioned it in the broadcast, like the head tilt back. But if you overcoach him, he's thinking about it too much and he slows down. You'd rather just have him run full speed at whatever he can do, and that intensity will show up in the stopwatch. So I'm curious, like, what are some of the things that between now and the Olympics, is there like one more thing you're trying to add? Are you trying to refine certain things that you've already worked on? What's the next month, roughly month, look like for you two?
Yeah, so, great question. We're not trying to add anything. We're just more so trying to refine, to your point, of things that he already knows. So, for example, I'll give you a funny story. I haven't shared it with anybody, and he's going to get me for telling this, but that's okay. He's not here. So there's several things. Plus, he's a kid, he's 16.
Yeah, we can take advantage of that a little bit. He's still 16, so it's just two guys having fun on the radio. Joe, what are we doing? No, so we're at the Olympic trials, and again, he's still a kid. He's still raw. He's only, like you said, 2 years ago. He's in the 8th grade. Like, what's going on here? So, his block settings. So he's still trying to work on and figure those out. And we have a very particular way where you set your blocks for your front foot and your back foot, right? And he knows how to do that. But he just, on this particular day, I think it was the trials, he just forgot. So, he's working on him. And again, this is on national TV or international TV. And he just finally just picks them up and just puts them down just anywhere. And he just jumps in and set go. I'm like, oh my gosh. And all these cameras are on him. And I'm like, they're going to think I'm the worst coach in the world, because who teaches their kid to just pick up the blocks and just drop them somewhere and give them the blocks, right? I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, I couldn't figure it out. So I just put it there. I was like, okay, well, we got to work on your start. And there's certain things, block clearance and acceleration that we do. And he knows, but, he just, he's 16. So when we fixed it, we adjusted it for the next round. But, stuff like that. We're not trying to overload. We have a less is more principle here at Bullis, where we're going to put a lot of volume on kids, and we don't train them 6 days a week and, do 2-a-days and all that kind of stuff. We really believe in quality over quantity. So we're just going to continue to sharpen him up, work on his sprint mechanics, work on his race model, understanding where to go and when to go, and then when to hold back. Because the 400 is one of those things where you have to be very precise in when you make your move. Otherwise, you will be in quicksand in the home stretch. But yeah, and again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So to add something now that would be outside of what he's learned over the past 2 years doesn't make much sense to me. But he's having fun, and I'm having fun coaching him. So we're going to stick with what we are and just fine tune some things as we get ready for the games. Joe Lee, the track coach at Bullis High School, with us on the Hoffman Show. When it comes to that race plan, the race strategy, does it change at all compared to like what a lot of the other Elite 400 runners will do? Because we've talked about it. Like he's still small. Like there is a growth spurt. Like if he hits a growth spurt and grows into his man body, like watch out. Every record in the book, American record, world record. If he's this fast already, oh my God, the sky could be the limit. Of course, that's just natural with where he is right now. But he's not there yet. And so the strength that it takes to run a 400, as he's still developing that, how does that affect the race plan where he's still able to put up these times? Clearly, you guys have figured something out. I'm curious if it's different than what you might tell, the top line guys who have more experience and more strength to them.
Yeah, so that's an interesting question because, we have a certain philosophy in our program that we feel it works, and it works if you're super talented like Quincy, or if it works if it's your first time entering the sport and learning it. It's almost easier when you bring kids in who don't know as much because you have less to undo, right? So as to answer your question, as he gets bigger and stronger, he's just going to be doing more of what he already does, right? So we don't change the philosophy that we have for him. We believe the 400 is a sprint. So in the beginning of the race, you have to get out like it's a sprint. You don't jog out of the blocks. You accelerate out of the blocks, right? So as he gets bigger and stronger, he's just going to be able to accelerate even faster. But, I just really want everybody to know that, this is not normal, in particular for this event. The 400 meters is arguably the hardest event in track and field in terms of the demand that it puts on your body. That's why when they cross the finish line, nobody's just smiling and, waving to the crowd. They are on their back, or at least holding down, hands on their knees and just, really trying to, gasp for air, because it's a unique blend between aerobic and anaerobic capacity and, speed and strength. So to have a 16-year-old do this, it's not normal. It's never been done or never been seen before, because you'll get, again, it's rare for a college kid to make the 400-meter relay pool, but let alone a high school sophomore. So again, as he gets bigger and stronger, we're going to do more of the same. There are certain things that he'll be able to do as he gets stronger. It's just like, for example, we're just introducing weights to him. He's not lifting the gym. In fact, we'll do things like 10 and 15-pound weights and a lot of body weight exercises. But as he gets stronger, it'll make him more powerful. But again, we don't want to, we want to keep the main thing, and where he's feeling fast and fluid. But most importantly, man, that he's having fun, and he is having a blast. Trust me, he loved every moment of the Olympic trials and was not scared one bit.
Man, that's awesome. I was going to ask about that. Just how much do you try? Because the attention is obviously high. The tension is high. It's the Olympic trials. Even if you're 16, if you're there, you're a competitor. And especially, like you said earlier, the way he played football and everything, this dude's competitive. How much do you see it as your responsibility? And in what ways do you try to make sure that he's still a 16-year-old kid having fun?
Yeah, that's the hardest thing, because, again, there's not really a blueprint or a book for this. Cindy McLaughlin, she's the top sprinter, arguably, in the world right now. She's the world record holder in the 400-meter hurdles, and she made the team as a 16-year-old as well. But it's very different. Girls mature differently than guys. And, a boy is still, this guy's not even shaving yet right now. He's going to hate that I said that. It's interesting because, I really think he's the kind of athlete that is, whatever he does, when he locks in, he's locked in just like the pros, if not more so in some cases. And I know that sounds like, Joe, come on. You can't tell me a high school kid's more locked in than the pros. I'm telling you, watch this kid work. If you watch the finish of his races, and again, there's still a lot of technical flaws that we're working on. I'm not saying he has everything down perfect. That's the great point, that he's got so much more to work with. He's got so much room for growth. But watch his last 100 meters. We made a big mistake in the finals, and we know what we did wrong, and we're going to fix that because we're going to race him one more time before the Olympics. And he came off the line, or he came off the curb in last place, which has never happened before. I don't think in his life. And he went and snatched three people. He snatched three professional athletes, and was coming for more. In the semifinals, same thing happened. He wouldn't even come off in last, but he was for those guys. And you hear the announcer on NBC yelling, "And here comes the kid." If he has 10 more meters, he gets both of those pros. So his main superpower, I tell you, is between the ears. He literally believes that he can do anything that he sets his mind to, regardless of limitations, regardless of size, regardless of anything that he doesn't have. he knows that he has the heart and the mindset to get it done, and he goes after it. Similar to you see pros like a Steph Curry or like a LeBron or like a Kobe, rest in peace. All those guys, they're just built different. This kid is built different, and I'm telling you, that's the difference. Not that he doesn't have to be 6'2" and 180 pounds.
And it'd be real scary if one day he is. Quincy Wilson running the 4x4 at the Olympics in Paris. But, Joe, that is not your only athlete that will be there. Your only current one, but not the only athlete that you've coached that will be there. Joe Lee is our guest for another minute or two here on The Hoffman Show, the track coach at Bullis High School. Messiah Russell messed around and broke the trials record in the 100-meter hurdles. What is Messiah's superpower, and what does it mean to you to see her also make this Olympic team?
Yeah, I mean, we've been privileged to have some great ones over the years at Bullis. A lot of national champions and All-Americans and even people running at the trials. We had actually 4 athletes run at the Olympic trials that are Bullis, either current or grads. Quincy obviously being the current one, and Messiah and Ryan Woolley, who just graduated from the University of Florida, and Leah Phillips, who's at LSU. So they were all at the Olympic trials as well. So we've seen a lot of talent. But to answer your question, what makes her different? I don't know how to better say it than, Messiah's just a dog. I mean, she's relentless in her pursuit to be the best and to overcome any obstacle in her way. She had a tough season when she turned pro, and she had some technical things that she was working on with her coach, and we've talked. Obviously, we keep in communication with all our kids. We try to between our staff, and we're not coaching them, but we're just watching them and encouraging them that it's going to work out. And she's relentless. She is relentless, and when she sets her mind on a goal, you better look out because she's coming. And she's not, as Charles Barkley would say, she's not whistling in any graveyards. So she's there to compete. She's fearless, and she believes in herself. And the reason why you can get to that, again, it's something that we know as athletic trainers and coaches. When you believe in yourself, that is a byproduct of the work that you've put in. If I know I put the work in, I know that eventually this thing is going to pop. And it did at the right time in the perfect way. And like you said, she broke the child's record set by Gail Devers, who's one of the greatest hurdlers in the history of the sport. So it was pretty awesome. That's her, and she's always been that way since she was a freshman. Small in stature as well. She's still only 5'4", and yet she's going out there and killing it with the best of them. And we couldn't be more proud.
That's so tough in that event too, because those hurdles are not small in the 100, and there's only so many steps to make up when your stride's a little bit shorter. Last thing I'll ask you, Joe, why are all 100-meter runners nuts? Like, you talk about her being a dog. Every single 100, like, if you're not a little crazy, you can't be great at the 100. And I mean that as a compliment, to be very, very clear. What is it about the 100-meter runners, men, women, whatever, that you have to have that next level dog in you to be great at that distance?
I mean, 100-meter runners and hurdlers, anybody who's doing a straightaway event, like, you got to have that little bit crazy in you, because it's almost like a prize fight. Like, those guys are out there, it's the ultimate competition in that who is the fastest from A to B. And then we've all done it. Like, let's race from here to the street corner, or, let's go out here and see who's the fastest and on the football field, or whatever it is. So when you have the best of the best of the best, that energy is flowing, the testosterone and all that is happening. But you got to really be on your game. Otherwise, Carl Lewis said it this way. He said, you make one mistake at the beginning of the race and you got 99 meters to regret it. So you better be on your game, and you better believe, and you better come prepared. There's a lot of showmanship there. Noah Lyles, who, we know really well, just have a relationship with him because he's from the DMV. He's hilarious because he's out there yelling and screaming right before the race and trying to get in his competitors' heads a little bit. But again, he's the world champion, so he's deserved that. But it's almost like what makes a boxer get in the ring and think that they're going to come out victorious. It's just something in them that is a little crazy but a little confident, and something else in between, probably with their skills. But I can't put my hand on it or my finger on it specifically. But no,
I kind of think you just did, though, because, well, there is a technical acumen that obviously matters There's no strategy in a straightaway sprint. It's the prize fighter who has to win by knockout. There's no strategy. I'm throwing a haymaker, and if it lands, I win, and if not, I lose. Like that actually, I think, explains it well. It's all in
war.
That's
it's
it.
All out war, all out assault. Then there's the strategy is, I'm gonna beat your tail from here to there. Come prove me wrong, right? That's it. There's strategy in other events, but there's technical components to
For
it,
sure.
Of course. There's things that you have to do out of the blocks and things you have to do as you transition, things you have to do it when you get to top end speed. But everybody's doing the same thing. Like there's nobody who's doing anything different at the highest level. Like they're all doing the same thing. So when that is all said and done, all right, who's got it? And
right,
you better be on your game because again, you can't make a mistake. If you make a mistake, you're gonna pay for it because somebody's gonna eat you up. You don't have time to get it back.
There's no starting your kick 10 meters sooner in the 100. You get out of the blocks, you go, and we'll see you at the finish line. Joe, this was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate your time, your insight, the stories. We'll definitely have to find an excuse to get you back on the show, and we'll be in touch, man. This was great. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime, man. It's been fun.
It's Joe Lee, everybody, head track coach at Bullis High School. He's got a couple of Olympians headed to Paris. Nice enough to take some time to join us here on The Hoffman Show.
What's up, kiddos? It's your boy Clinton Yates from ESPN. It's The Hoffman Show on the Team 980. Tell your mama I said what's up.